Welcome, welcome, welcome for another Bible quiz. Hope you're having a wonderful, beautiful day. My name is James. I'm your host, and let's just jump into this next Bible trivia on the 10 commandments. That's correct. Do you know them? Let's see. Number 1, which commandment instructs us to honor our father and mother? A, the first commandment. B, the third commandment. C, the fifth commandment. Or D, the seventh commandment? Which commandment instructs us to honor our father and mother? Answer is C, the fifth commandment. Often overlooked, underappreciated explanation. The fifth commandment tells us to honor your mother and father. It's the only commandment with the promise that you may live long in the land. Wow, respecting your parents isn't just good manners, it's a recipe for a good life. So true. You heard him, folks. Honor your mother and father. All right, number 2. What is the first commandment? They get harder too. And you're like, oh, I got this. No problem. They get harder. A, you shall not steal. B, you shall have no other gods before me. C, you shall not murder. Or D, remember the Sabbath day. So what is the first commandment? The very first one. In some ways, the most important one. Answer B, you shall have no other gods before me. Very important rule. The first commandment sets the foundation. God comes first. He doesn't want to share his place in our hearts with anyone or anything else. Keeping him as our top priority is the first step in living a life that is aligned with his will. It is so true. I wouldn't necessarily say it like it does here where he doesn't want to share his place in our hearts. I just think it's like a way to keep things pure in your intentions and your direction headed the right way. I don't know about that. It was kind of worded strangely in my opinion. Anyway, which commandment forbids bearing false witness? A, the fourth commandment. B, the sixth commandment. C, the ninth commandment. D, the 10th commandment. Which commandment forbids bearing false witness? Answer C, the ninth commandment. Often overlooked. They care about the first 5, right? And then the last 5 kind of, Explanation. The ninth commandment says, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. In other words, don't lie about others. Telling the truth helps build trust, and this commandment reminds us that honesty is the best policy. So true. Even when it's difficult to tell the truth, it is infinitely easier than lying in the long run. All right, number 4. Which commandment tells us to remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy? A, the second commandment. B, the fourth commandment. C, the seventh commandment. Or D, the eighth commandment. So which commandment tells us to remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy? Answer B, the fourth commandment. Very interesting. The fourth commandment is all about taking a break. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. It's like God's way of saying, don't forget to take some time off and focus on what really matters, your relationship with me. Ooh, I got goosebumps right now. I'm not even joking because this is something I'm currently dealing with. Is like learning to take breaks. All right, number 5. Which commandment prohibits the act of stealing? Is it A, the fifth commandment, B, the sixth commandment, C, the eighth commandment, or D, the 10th commandment? Which commandment says no stealing? Not good for you, your neighbor, your family. It's bad. Bad all around. Answer C, the eighth commandment. Explanation. The eighth commandment, you shall not steal. It's pretty straightforward. Keep your hands off what isn't yours. Respecting others' property is key to living in harmony with those around us. True. I also feel like it's about abundance and not having to take from others. God will provide it for you. You don't need to steal. 6. What is the second commandment? A, you shall not make for yourself a carved image. B, you shall not commit adultery. C, you shall not covet. D, honor your father and mother. All right, so we can cross off D, right? Because they talked about that just a little bit ago. Answer is A, you shall not make for yourself a carved image. Interesting. The second commandment warns against making idols or carved images. It's a reminder that nothing should take God's place in our worship. He's the real deal. So let's keep our focus on him, not the things made by human hands. Very interesting. You know, this one gets overlooked too, I feel like. There's a lot of carved images out there. Which commandment forbids coveting your neighbor's house, wife, or belongings? Interesting. A, the fifth commandment. B, the seventh commandment. C, the ninth commandment. Or D, the 10th commandment. Which commandment forbids coveting your neighbor's house, wife, or belongings? Interesting. You hear about the wife a lot, but not really much about the belongings. Answer the 10th commandment. The final commandment is like, do not worship your neighbor's car. The 10th commandment, you shall not covet, teaches us to be content with what we have. Instead of eyeing what others have, it's better to focus on your own blessings. There's plenty to be grateful for. So true. They say comparison is the thief of joy, and this is perfectly in alignment with it. Do not compare your car or house or wife to your neighbors, and just learn to love what you have and make it, clean your car. Take your wife out on a date. Have a great day. Anyway, 8. Which commandment forbids taking the Lord's name in vain? A, the second commandment. B, the third commandment. C, the fifth commandment. D, the sixth commandment. Which commandment forbids taking the Lord's name in vain? We see this so much these days. This is answer B, the third commandment. People are rampant in taking the Lord's name in vain. Explanation: the third commandment says, "You shall not take the Lord's name. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain." God's name is holy, and we should treat it with the utmost respect. This commandment encourages us to speak with reverence and avoid using God's name carelessly. Which commandment instructs us not to commit adultery? A, the fourth commandment. A, the sixth commandment. A, the seventh commandment. What's going on? A, the ninth commandment. All right, well, it's got to be A. What is going on? Who did this quiz? They're all A? All right, don't focus on the letter. Just focus on the number. Watch, it's not going to say A. Answer C, the seventh commandment. Unbelievable. It's the seventh commandment. Explanation: the seventh commandment, you shall not commit adultery, reminds us to honor the sacred bonds of marriage. Faithfulness isn't just about commitment, it's about building trust and love that lasts a lifetime. So true. I would say a couple of the commandments would also kind of fit in this, like the 10th commandment that says don't covet your neighbor's wife. I feel like that's in the same category. Number 10, what does the sixth commandment forbid? A, stealing. B, lying. C, murder. Or D, coveting. What does the sixth commandment forbid? Ooh. Sometimes it's hard to keep them in order in your brain. Like you know them, but which one's which, number wise? Answer C, murder. Very important one. You'd think it'd be higher up on the list. Explanation: the sixth commandment, you shall not murder, underscores the value of human life. Life is precious, and this commandment makes it clear that we are called to respect and protect it at all costs. Interesting. What do you consider murder? Does it just apply to humans? Is there other exceptions? We are halfway done. Congratulations. Please comment down below your score at this point. It's not about being perfect. It's about just having fun, learning. I bet if you were to retake these 10 questions right now, you would get 10 for 10. So that's what it's all about. Number 11, which commandment tells us not to make idols or graven images? Ooh, do you remember this? Do you remember this one? Is it A, the second commandment, B, the third commandment, C, the fifth commandment, or D, the seventh commandment? Which commandment tells us not to make idols or graven images? It's a cool way to say that. Answer is A, the second commandment. Very important. That's very high on the list, so it must be very important. The second commandment warns against making idols or graven images. It's like God's way of saying, don't settle for cheap imitation. Nothing compares to me. He wants our worship to be directly, solely towards him, not towards things we create. Amen. Which commandment tells us not to bear false witness against our neighbor? Ooh. A, the fourth commandment. B, the ninth commandment. C, the sixth commandment. D, the eighth commandment. You got this. I know you got this. It's right there. Take it out. Answer is B, the ninth commandment. No, it's towards the end, but it's very important. The ninth commandment, you shall not bear false witness, is all about honesty. Gossip, slander, and lies can do serious harm. So this commandment reminds us to speak the truth and protect the reputations of others. Keep that vibration high. Do not gossip and tell lies. It just lowers your overall spirit, and we want to be as high and close to God as possible. Which commandment is focused on observing a day of rest and worship? So important. A, the first commandment. B, the second commandment. C, the fourth commandment. D, the fifth commandment. Which commandment is focused on observing a day of rest and worship? Honor the Sabbath. Answer C, the fourth commandment. That is really high on the list. He really wants you to take a break. That's cool. The fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, is all about taking a break. It's God's reminder to slow down, recharge, and spend quality time with Him. Rest isn't just a luxury, it's a commandment. And do you believe your family should also be a part of that? Number 14, which commandment warns against coveting your neighbor's wife? Ooh. A, the sixth commandment. B, the seventh commandment. C, the ninth commandment. Or D, the 10th commandment. We talked about this one earlier. We've talked about most of these. The second half, it should be a little bit easier because we kind of gave clues in the first half. Answer D, the 10th commandment. It's the final but super important. Don't covet your neighbor's wife. The 10th commandment, you shall not covet, offers a lot of ground, including not coveting your neighbor's wife. This commandment teaches us to be content with what we have and avoid letting envy drive our action. And it's a bucket you can never fill. Once it's like no matter how much you try to put in that bucket, it just is, you have to be content with what you have, not just let it, because it's never enough. What does the sixth commandment specifically prohibit? A, stealing. B, adultery. C, murder. D, lying. What does the sixth commandment specifically prohibit? Answer is C, murder. It's very serious. I'm surprised it's not higher up on the list personally, but there's, not for me to discern. The sixth commandment, you shall not murder, makes it clear that life is sacred. God values human life highly, and this commandment reminds us that we are to protect and respect it in every way. I think it is so true. Which commandment instructs us not to take the name of the Lord in vain? A, the third commandment. B, the fourth commandment. C, the fifth commandment. Or D, the sixth commandment. Which commandment instructs us not to take the Lord's name in vain? Answer is A, the third commandment. That is correct. It's the third. It's very high up on the list. The third commandment tells us, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. God's name is powerful and holy, so we should speak it with respect and the reverence it deserves. Very true. It's one of the commandments. Number 17, which commandment emphasizes the importance of respecting parents? A, the second commandment. B, the fourth commandment. C, the fifth commandment. Or D, the seventh commandment. The answer is C, the fifth commandment. The fifth commandment says, honor your father and mother. This commandment is all about respect and gratitude. After all, our parents played a big role in bringing us into the world and guiding us along the way. So true. Very true, especially if you had good parents growing up. Here's a question. What if your parents weren't the best parents? Is it even more important to honor it? Interesting. Interesting thought. Which commandment warns against committing adultery? A, the fifth commandment. B, the sixth commandment. C, the seventh commandment. Or D, the eighth commandment. Warns against committing adultery. I think some of these, I'd say several of these could be referencing this. Answer C, the seventh commandment specifically calls it out, just so that there's no room for misinterpretation. The seventh commandment, you shall not commit adultery, underscores the importance of faithfulness in marriage. So true. It's a call to honor the commitments we make to nurture loving, loyal relationships. It's profound. I get why they put it in black and white, real simple to understand. Which commandment tells us not to steal? A, the seventh commandment. B, the eighth commandment. C, the ninth commandment. Or D, the 10th commandment. Tells us not to steal. Answer B, the 8th commandment. I bet you got that one right. The 8th commandment, you shall not steal, is a reminder to respect others' property and rights. It is a simple yet essential rule for living harmoniously in any community. Number 20, which commandment addresses the prohibition of worshiping other gods? A, the first commandment. B, the second commandment. C, the third commandment. Or D, the 10th commandment. This is the last question in the quiz. Finish strong. You got this. Which commandment addresses the prohibition of worshiping other gods? You got this. I believe in you. Answer is A, the first commandment. We learned that one. I think that was the first question. We got this. We're doing great. Explanation. The first commandment, you shall have no other gods before me, sets the tone for all the others. It's a clear directive that our devotion and worship belong to God alone. No substitutes or rivals allowed. Funny way to end that explanation, but you know what? So important. And way to go. Congratulations on finishing this difficult quiz. And I bet you are now a master on the 10 commandments. Please comment your score below. I bet if you were to retake this quiz, you're welcome to do that, you would get 20 out of 20, which is amazing. You now completely have a better grasp on the 10 commandments. You maybe already did. Honestly, I think this is kind of common knowledge, but in a good way, as in like we should be revisiting this knowledge. And I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do something productive with your time. There's so many videos online that don't help raise your vibration, connection to God, just put you in a place where you are like better off from it. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you had a laugh or two. But as always, I hope you're having a wonderful day, a blessed day. And thank you for joining me in this Bible quiz, doing this Bible trivia. And I'll see you next